So yes, welcome everybody to this afternoon's webinar. Proplanet are hosting this webinar for us, but I just wanted to give everyone a brief introduction to them really. So Proplanet were established in 2000 and a market-leading IT company specialising in advanced data-driven solutions. And that's for product information management, digital asset management, product experience portal, and auto pub and catalogue publishing. They also have e-commerce solutions, and those are for custom web shops and integrations and configurators. In regards to consultancy, support and training, they host the PIM consultancy, data services, insights and reporting, their ETIM GS1 classification. They do training with the data cleansing and enrichment, project management and other support and training. So the co-founders of ETIM, Proplanet are the co-founders, and that's an international standard for describing and classifying technical products. And their PIM solution fully supports not only the ETIM standard, but also GS1, among others. Proplanet work closely with industry partners, including the BMF and the EDA, as advisors and PIM platform providers. So in today's webinar, they'll go through understanding ETIM, so what ETIM is and the challenges it addresses, and its role within e-commerce. They'll look at benefits of data standards, so that's the advantages of adhering to industry standards. They'll be providing a practical how-to, which is a sneak preview on creating and managing classified data easily, which is through the PIM. They'll explain how to send ETIM classification to your customers, which will be a key interest, I would think, to people on the call today. And then they'll also explain the key benefits of the PIM solution, which is Etimix. Today you'll hear from at least two members of the Proplanet team. So we have Anthony Newcomb and Suzanne Adgar. Someone else may join for a special guest appearance later, but we'll wait and see. So firstly, let's go over to Anthony Newcomb, who's the technical product data consultant, and Anthony will kick off today's webinar. So over to you, Anthony.
Thank you. So yeah, today we'll be running through ETIM and the benefits of ETIM. So hopefully I'm going to sort of give you a quick explanation of what ETIM is and also why we use ETIM. So yeah, we'll jump straight into it. It's so we're probably it's probably slightly counterintuitive, but we tend to find that a lot of people have a misunderstanding of what ETIM is to begin with. So generally it's good to sort of explain what it isn't. So ETIM isn't a database, it's not a content solution, and it's also not a PIM system. So generally it's quite a common misconception to sort of view it as one of these, because these are the types of organizations that are pushing ETIM, because it's largely to integrate with their systems and to work with them. What ETIM actually is a format to structure product data. And we'll go into sort of lots more detail about how it structures your product data and what you're doing to work with ETIM to structure product data. So the main challenges that ETIM is trying to address is it's trying to standardize product data, and it's trying to ensure an international compatibility. So businesses with international silos, so if you have sort of a company who operates in Germany, the Netherlands and the UK, that data is interchangeable. They can all use it. So you take an asset of one business and you can spread it across all these different silos of the same business. And in turn with that, with the enhanced product data, you're enabling customers, merchants, wholesalers to all sort of make better decisions about the products that they're selling, who they're marketing them to, and making those products more discoverable. So ETIM itself is now found in 24 different countries. There's trying to bring on new members each and every year. Initially, it started as a electrotechnical information model. It's now advanced to HVAC, sanitary, construction and marine as well. As part of that as well, they've begun including keywords and synonyms. So this is to help improve that SEO content and make products more findable on the internet. And with that as well, they've also expanded the product attributes. So as they've introduced more product lines and classes for the products, they've had to increase the number of features that are available for those products as well. And recently as well, just at the bottom there, they've got ETIM modeling classes. So we'll go into a bit more detail around how and when you use those modeling classes later on. So to start with, we'll begin sort of breaking down ETIM as a model. So this is a general overview of what would be the ETIM data you'd store on a product. So at the top there, you can see the umbrella that holds over all of the data is the product group. Within that group, you'd have your product class. So for this instance, we've got the group as wastewater reception devices, and within that, we've got a bath as the class. So this then breaks down further, and we then split off into different features. Here we've got 4 separate examples. So the different types of features you can have within ETIM are alphanumeric, which are based on drop downs. So there's set values and you select the value most relevant to the product. Then you have numeric, which is sort of self-explanatory. It's a number. Then you have a range, which is the if you have sort of a height, in this instance, it's the height including legs, which the legs might be adjustable. So you have a ranged height. So it can be adjustable from 50 to 60. And then you have logic, which is a yes, no, 0, 1, true or false. So it looks like a lot to begin with, but you don't actually have to input all of this data. ETIM does a lot of the legwork for you. So if we go into what you'd have to do to enrich a product with this information. So first you'd have to select a class. So typically the group is more for findability and SEO content. It's to provide an additional layer to make the product findable. But you generally work with the classes. So first you take your products and then you pick a class that you want to classify it into. There's sort of a few different ways of doing this. Generally, it's best to find the class that has the features that fit the product the best. But likewise, it's still sort of a give and take. It's open to interpretation. There isn't always the best class for a product, or the product that matches the name closest isn't always the best class for that product as well. But once you've selected the class, then the features are already depicted within that class. So each class has set features, and these are sort of managed by ETIM International, and it's you submit requests and sort of changes that you'd like to make to ETIM, and they will review and then make these changes. So at the moment we're on ETIM 10. But they also have a solution called ETIM Dynamic, which is an API feed to receive the most up-to-date classification structure. But once you've selected your class and you have your features, then you start populating the values. So again, going back to the example we had before, so here you'd, with the alphanumeric value, you'd select, I believe there's sort of like left, right, center, and you select out of those options which is going to suit your product the best. Numeric, you fill in the value. So with most of the numeric values, the units are automatically populated as well. So they pick a standard unit for that feature, and that's generally used across all of ETIM. And with that as well, you can also, there's also the link to Imperial as well, so it'll automatically convert. The classes, generally, they're fairly, I would describe them as fairly granular. It's, I believe you've got 6,600 classes. I may be able to, if we have time, show a bit of the classification management tool. So this is actually, the site that ETIM proposed, that it's free to use, and I believe we might send the slides over after this, but the actual title's linked to the CMT tool. But this is available on the internet. It's accessible by everyone, not just ETIM members. And you can go and view all the classes that are available and also search by feature and things like that. But yeah, the classes, they generally, so they try to sort of umbrella, but also, be precise enough that products should only sort of fit in one place. It's quite difficult to describe it, so I'd really sort of recommend, just having a play with the CMT and just giving it a sort of explore. Yeah, so following that,
Anthony,
yeah.
can I interrupt? I've got a question here. So Tom's asking is, so how granular do the classes actually get?
Yeah, so they try to make it so it only sort of fits, like a product sort of only fits into one class, but they do generally umbrella as well. So it's that kind of balance of how far they stretch. To be honest, it's hard to think of an example of how granular it really is. It's like you'll have multiple like classes for LEDs, so it really depends on the product range as to how granular it is.
How much detail?
Yeah, it's a product by product basis really. But yeah, going into the modeling classes. So here we have a screenshot of our PIM solution. So within that, we have the ETIM data. So this is dimension data that we then take so within the product class, it then pulls a model from the Universal Object Library, which is an online repository of 3D and CAD models. So what it's doing is it's taking those dimension data and it's applying it to the model for the class. So as you populate this dimension data, it automatically adjusts the model to fit the dimensions that you've given it. In terms of applications for this, the one application that we're using for at the moment is with a solution that we connect with, Sananet, which is a 3D battery modeling software. So what we're doing with that precisely is so you can see in the far left, we have the PIM solution, which holds the database of the product details. We then export the ETIM information out of the PIM solution and send this to the Universal Object Library database. This then returns the model based on that ETIM class that we've provided to it. We then pair that with the ETIM dimension data that we have within the PIM and send that to an ETL library to transform the data to make it ready for use in Sananet. Sananet is a SaaS-based solution, so it's web-based, and this feeds directly into the object library within Sananet. So then, as it updates the object library, effectively your showrooms across the country and your designers would then have immediate access to those objects that you're producing in the PIM from the PIM solution. And I think a lot of solutions, they do it the other way, where you have a set model and you can adjust the dimensions within the drawing solution itself. But this is just another way to ensure that you have basically the information direct from source, and your designers have immediate access to all different sizes of products that you're selling. So going back to the ETIM data, so the real need is what you're going to be using that data for, and the main thing is to sell products. So if we take a look at two different web shops here, so we have this one example where, as you can see, they're missing a photo of the products. The description is the same as the title of the product, and the technical specifications are very limited as well. So then if we, ignoring the price, but if we take a look at another supplier who has multiple images of the product, and they also have detailed technical points on the product as well. They've also got reviews, and going down even further, they've got downloadable documents based on the product. They've also got technical drawings, which can be produced by ETIM classes as well. And then they've also got this specifications page. So they've got a lot of information about the product, which really makes it so much more appealing for the customer to buy, especially contractors as well. If they're looking for a specific product with specific dimensions or for a specific purpose, then it really is key that they have access to that information when they're sort of making the purchase. And the more informed a customer can be when they're making the purchase, the more likely they are to press buy as well. But yeah, the product data, it is sort of general as well, but how we pair that to eTIM is if we take so on the left hand side here, I've got the specifications that there we go. So on the left hand side, I've got the specifications from that web page, and on the right hand side, I've got all the features that are included in the eTIM class for BAF. So taking a look, we can map quite a lot of those across. There are actually a few more that go over to the table on the right. I actually sort of ran out of room on the page, but we can see that we can sort of safely assume that that supplier is using eTIM data to map to their products. So using that information, what it really does is it enables marketing or sort of merchandising teams who may not have a complete understanding of the product that they're selling, but their sort of ability lies in promoting that product. So using eTIM, it enables you to take that sort of specialist knowledge of the products and apply it to everyone, because it's providing the specifications to that merchandising team straight away. They don't have to sort of figure out what's going to sell the product and then sort of find out those and then figure out what information they're going to need from that. It's eTIM's providing you a list of specifications that it thinks people will buy, or like people will be looking for to buy your product. And that's the main sort of one of the key benefits of eTIM itself. It's sort of building you that framework, making your life easier, and enabling you to not go from sort of ground zero, but have a step up to step into how you're setting out and laying out the product. So one of the other key benefits of eTIM is a lot of manufacturers already have that data readily available. So what they can do is they can use sort of multiple methods to send and receive that data. So most common format is an eTIM exchange file. Well, that's the newest format, actually. Sorry, a BME-CAT would be at the moment probably the most common. So a BME-CAT is an XML file, and it contains sort of all of the information about products, including pricing data, technical descriptions, images and assets, alongside that eTIM data. So when you're importing that file, you're really getting all the information about a product. It's not just limited to sort of one key bit. So what that's doing is rather than sort of having you sort of, I don't know, receive an Excel file or sort of fragmented data in bits and pieces here and there from different people, you get all the information in one go. You do one import, you put it into your ERP, your PIM solution, sort of wherever you're going to be sort of moving and managing that data, you have it all in one go, and it just makes it much more simple for you. Likewise, it enables you to sort of use API and automatic connections, so you can have scheduled imports and things like that. It's keeping it in that one standardized file makes it sort of infinitely more shareable than it would be otherwise. You can use Excel files to manage and move this data, but again, it's a bit more manual. It takes a bit more effort, but compared to the XML files, not all systems are able to accept those file formats. So sometimes the Excel file comes out a bit better, but generally you want to be sticking to those the BME-CAT and eTIM exchange files. They sort of sound quite scary and sort of go over your head, but it's to be honest, once you're dealing with them, you sort of see them in action. It's actually a much more simple way of operating. So if we take a look at how you'd be creating and using eTIM data, we'll see sort of on the time that we've got whether we can do a live demonstration. But here are two sort of screenshots of the PIM solution. So the right screenshot, the lower one, that is actually showing the class within the solution. So this is to manage and update the classes and features. So how we operate generally is we have an eTIM API, and we automatically pull in those features and classes from eTIM themselves, so they're always fresh and sort of up to date. And then the screenshot that's sort of placed behind it, that would be the product view for the ETIM class. So as you can see, we have sort of a list of separate products, and on the right, we get all the features and attributes. So we get those drop-down menus. If it's a numerical value, then we're able to put in a numerical value, but it enables you to automatically sort of start populating that data. So that would be the manual process of creating that data if you weren't to, say, have access to a VME-cat file or something similar from a supplier or a manufacturer. So yeah, really to use ETIM, we sort of see it as a 5-step journey. So your step one is really deciding where you're going to be managing and creating that ETIM data. Obviously, as a PIM provider, we do recommend using a PIM solution for that. It does 100% sort of save you time and make it much easier to manage. You could go down sort of quite a rogue route and use the ETIM classification management tool and an Excel file. I think it's quite a long-winded way of doing it, but if you've got the time, you can do it that way. Your next step after that would then be importing and moving that product data to where you're going to be using it. So making it accessible to your web shop. Then once you've got all your products, it's then the actual classification step. And then it's correctly sort of assigning ETIM values to each of those products. And then once you're on that final step, if you've got that enriched product data, then you can start distributing it and sending it to web shops or to suppliers and merchants. So Suzanne, I believe it's now over to you.
Yes, thank you, Anthony, for that. That's a nice overview there. Obviously, if people have got more questions, we'd love to hear those. All product data starts with a PIM, whether it's ETIM classification or your GS1, anything like that, all needs to sit within a PIM solution. Anthony, if you just flick to the next screen, please. So just to touch on the PIM benefits, and I'm not sure how many of you out there are actually using a PIM at the moment. If you are using a PIM, it needs to be fully customizable, it needs to be flexible, it needs to be a PIM that will grow with your business. There's a lot of things coming our way, including AI, which we also touch on and have as an extra solution within our business that's going to help you with anything to do with managing your product data, finding gap analysis, and also helping you from an e-commerce point of view to push data to those important platforms out there. So Proplanet, as we've mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, we have a PIM solution called Etimix, which provides your business with everything you need to create a single source of truth. And you'll have heard this phrase before. The idea being is you put everything into one pot and you get rid of all of your data silos that are across the business. And that includes everything from images to packaging information, absolutely everything to do with your products. You can store all kinds of files within our PIM in our DAM solution. So everything from InDesign files, you name it, you can have that in there. Big benefits. A PIM helps you to grow your business. The big advantage is it helps you to automate laborious processes. Those kind of, everybody's frightened to death of getting too involved with data because it is a time-consuming thing. But the ideal thing is you put it in the PIM and you can automate a lot of those processes to speed up capabilities. We talked about scalability. If you work with a PIM solution that can grow with your business and actually fits to your business model rather than you trying to fit with it, that's a great advantage, and you can have a really long relationship with the PIM organization if it's the right one. You can also automate your workflows. We have additional features with PIM that you can move to our PXP and engage more with workflow and get more out of your PIM that way. You can also improve and enrich your product data as you go, because once you've got it all in there, it's a lot easier to keep just topping it up rather than, starting from scratch each time with an Excel spreadsheet. Huge advantage is the customer experience. Anthony showed there a couple of slides. I think you could clearly see, I've been on these sites myself where you're trying to buy something and it's not got all the detail, or it's got a missing image, and it's just off-putting. And even though you might need to pay a little bit more, sometimes you go to that site that's got the better information, because I think it gives you more confidence, and you know that you're going to get exactly what you're buying. You can also manage sustainability in packaging. Packaging's a really big thing at the moment across our industry. They're wanting to know where you're sourcing your packaging, what it's made up of. So that's another really good thing that you can manage in your PIM, and then it's always there for whatever tenders or whatever you want to use it for, for sending products to X, Y, and Z. PIM helps you to expand your revenue streams. So it's obviously it's a lot more economical than doing it from siloed sources. And it also accelerates your product time to market. So you can be putting in new product information, marketing people can be working on it in the background. And then when you're ready to go, everything goes to all of the channels all at the same time, so that you're not, again, working in that kind of unconnected way. It also removes duplicated time and effort. So searching for information from inside your departments in your business, it means everybody's going to the same place and can find it quickly, rather than looking in multiple systems and top drawers and bottom drawers to find, the latest image that you need. And then finally, ETIM supports you in delivering ETIM compliant data to all of your wholesalers, merchants, data pools, and anywhere that you want to send that information. It's just a really speedy way of getting really good, consistent data out into the marketplace. Next slide, Anthony. So we'd love to hear some questions and answers, and I've put a few prompts on here. If anybody's already using ETIM, we'd like to hear your experience of it, how you're getting on with it. Have you come to a standstill with it? We'd love to hear what you've got to say, or if you're considering ETIM classification, PIM or AI for your business, please shout up and ask away.
Hi, Suzanne. It looks like nobody has any questions.
Well, I hope we've not blinded everybody with science, but it really is, everybody's more than welcome to get in touch and come for a one-to-one to speak about your particular journey and where you're at with your digitalization. I know it can be daunting to speak online, but oh, hang on. There's somebody asking us a question. Oh. Yeah, so we've got here, the BMA should consider aligning with ETIM categories in our sales data pooling initiative. We'll connect you with Prognity and Jane and the BMA team. Yes, okay, all right.
Sean's there. Let me just allow his mic. I think you're okay to go now, Sean.
Hi, Sean. I think he's still muted, Lisa. Yeah.
Right, I've managed to unmute myself now. Thank you.
Sorry, Sean.
Thanks for the presentation. Very interesting. Can you give me a bit of an overview as to what extent this is actively used within the builders merchants industry in the UK and bathroom manufacturers, and where you see that in the not too distant future in terms of adopting a percentage of adoption?
Okay, well, I think ETIM generally across the UK has had a little bit of a slow start, but it's definitely starting to make traction now. There are certainly on the electrical side of things, so the electrical sector, companies like Rexel are starting to demand it from the manufacturers, and we're also working with the BMA on their product data template, and we're also hoping that they're going to now move across to engaging with ETIM so that it becomes much more a regularly used standard across the construction side of things. But it has been a slow start, but you can see the advantages. They're fantastic, because all it can do is speed up your business. It's speed up that transition of data across your marketing channels. And it's going to be good quality. If you've got those fundamental core values there, you've got that security. So we are getting a lot more inquiries for it lately. That's why we've been speaking about it, frequently online. So, Anthony, have you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, all I'd say is across sort of Germany and the Netherlands are sort of like the major adopters of it. So I'd say in terms of an electrotechnical point of view, you've got in those two nations, you've got an almost 100% sort of adoption of it. The builders merchants slightly slower to adopt. I'd say probably in the UK now, we see some of the larger merchants using it. So I believe Start Group, all the business that sort of sit under them, they're starting to push ETIM and to use ETIM data. But yeah, in terms of bathroom manufacturers, I imagine it'd be more European manufacturers that probably have the data now. I don't know what the adoption would actually be like for UK manufacturers, but that's sort of what we're looking to push and work towards. Yeah, we're hoping sort of over the next 10 years that we get that adoption rate up, and yeah, we sort of move across sectors from the electrotechnical.
I think it's better not to wait, actually. I think really if you can start to get to grips with it now, you'll be on board, because when it does come, it will come quickly, and then everybody's going to panic. And it's very important that you make a start, I think. We have had some inquiries from bathroom related companies that are not on this meeting today, but we can perhaps speak about those on a one-to-one if you were interested. Anyway, Sean, let's carry on, Sean. Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because as we'd expect, it will be the merchant industry that place demands on manufacturers to supply data in a certain way. We get lots of data requests, but they're often in completely different formats, which is a challenge. We do have a PIM system. Is it as simple, or am I misunderstanding this? But is it as simple as us adopting an ETIM classification that we attach to each product, and then we would be able to supply data in that way, i.e. it's fundamentally just a code?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, yeah, it is a classification structure and a code. It does just come down to whether your PIM has the functionality to sort of bolt it onto your products. But in a nutshell, you're right. It would it's just a code that creates a general sort of level of communication. Yeah.
And also,
thanks for the presentation.
Oh, you're welcome, Sean. And if you need help with ETIM classification, you are under by no means obligated to come with our PIM solution. We're working with manufacturers that have other PIM solutions. We have a product data services team here at Proplanet in the UK, and constantly helping manufacturers to get their data into shape for ETIM and other purposes. So you can tap into that. We understand that it can be something that gets put to the back of the queue, but you don't really need manpower in-house. You can actually tap into product data services externally.
Okay, I think there was a question from Tom again. Will ETIM and BIM align?
So that is largely what the ETIM MC project is focusing on. So I'm presuming by BIM, it's just building information modeling.
Yeah.
So that's where the sort of core development of ETIM MC sort of came from, was that alignment of ETIM and BIM. So originally ETIM was just the product data, and then it was kind of with the BIM modeling, they were looking for that dimension data to be provided with. So that's where the sort of cross connection is that ETIM MC data is sort of designed to feed BIM modeling data. And that's sort of where that demand and need for ETIM MC sort of came from. So they're not sort of categorized under the exact same sort of roof, but there is an alignment, and there is sort of like a cohesion that is sort of beginning there. ETIM MC definitely isn't sort of widely adopted yet, It's still sort of fairly new to market, but yeah, it's they are trying to build that connection between the two. And then just the cost per product. So yeah, it's really kind of dependent on how you're going to be doing it. So we don't necessarily, so we do have our data services, and what we do with that is we can look at ETIM classification and enrichment through that process. We don't have a set cost per product. It's normally we run it as a project base, and we'd look at generally enriching a data set. But it's yeah, it really depends on how you're going to do it. So the PIM, like if you go down the PIM solution route, then it is the cost of your PIM solution, the time of whoever you have working on it. We do have AI solutions as well for a partner. So you can look at using AI to automatically classify your products. And then again, it can look at other sections of product data to try and extrapolate and pull ETIM information out of it. So I wouldn't say there's a set cost per product. It's it really does depend on the method that you're using to achieve the end result.
Yeah, I mean, if you would let us know what you got in mind, then we'd certainly be able to give you an idea on the hours required to accomplish that, ETIM classification. That would be quite easy to do. And AI, just to mention AI, the way we use AI, it is purely to help with efficiency. It speeds up a lot of these laborious processes. It's practical. It actually is something that you can use. So it's not scary in any way. It's a process that gets put in place, which automates the system. We'll probably do another webinar on AI, because that's another really interesting way of tapping into speedy data arrangements and product, what's the word? Well, just basically speeding up, these laborious tasks. Okay, anything else?
Can I ask a nerdy question about the AI then? So you mentioned about all the ensuring that your products have the keywords in there for SEO purposes. Is there a way of making the AI bit work for your keywords? Can it automatically generate the best kind of SEO keywords for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's another webinar, but yes, it's amazing. It really is amazing. We provided a demo to the EDA, the electrical sector, not so long ago, and we've got a partner that worked with us for AI, and we've been inundated with questions, and people are really seeing the value of that. Yeah.
Fabulous. Have we got any more questions from anybody? Looks like we may have run out. That's it, everybody. Yep, no more questions. Just like to say thank you very much, Suzanne and Anthony. That was really, really interesting. We'll make sure that the recording and the presentation's available for people as well, in case anybody's missed it, and people may want to come back to this as well.
More than welcome. Yeah, we're here to help, so we hope the BMA members can get some value out of, if it's nothing else, out of advice. Advice is free to a certain degree, as they say. Okay,
thanks both, and thanks everybody for joining.